Hey, what's up everybody? This is Beat the Bush, and today we're going to talk about cash flow. What everybody wants is to increase their net worth, but sometimes it's really hard for someone if they spend all of their income every single month. Here's a basic diagram of your typical cash flow. You have your income. Maybe you get your income from working, from a salary, or maybe you have a business of your own where you get income. So your net worth is basically all the income that you have, minus all the stuff that you spend every single month. If you look at how much you make every month and subtract out how much you spend, then that is the amount that you would increase your net worth. But there's other ways to increase your net worth, not just through income. You can have bought a house or a property and the value of it will increase, but you can't really count that because you have to live in it. You can't count it as a net worth increase until you sell the property and buy something cheaper. You can have recurring income. So this is for like rich people where they have lots and lots of stocks or bonds or something, and every single month it pays dividends. You hear about all the stock companies, they go, oh yeah, we're paying certain amount percent. It ranges from something like nothing to like 5, 8, 10% of the value of the stock. Let's say you have millions of it, then every month you might get $10,000, $20,000 of money just doing nothing. Most people don't have that kind of income, but it's good to focus on getting more and more recurring income. That way when you get them, you don't have to work. Better than just one-time income, because a recurring one just sits there and just keeps on giving back forever. If you do the same amount of work to get $1 of income per month versus $100 now, it's better to get the $1 in recurring income. Why? Because over the life of this recurring income, let's say it stays the same, it's going to be a lot more than the $100. So you should really focus your efforts on getting recurring income. I'm sure there's other types of income like stock appreciation, employee stock purchase plans, stock grants, options, things like that that you can get from working at startups. So today I want to focus on expenses. You have recurring expenses and regular expenses, just like one-time purchases. Sometimes when you buy something, it may seem like a one-time purchase, but later on when you're using it, you have to feed it money in order to keep it alive. For example, a car is not a one-time purchase because over the life of the car, you have to pay for maintenance. Another example, a game console. Let's say it's $400. When you buy it, it just doesn't sit there, right? You need to buy games to feed it, to pay more. So when you buy those, you have to consider that it's gonna keep on eating into your expenses. Not to say that you shouldn't get it, but you should just be aware that when you get something, it's not just the price of the item. You have to consider the recurring costs. Another example is, let's say, a Brita water pitcher filter. You buy that, $20, right? But you have to always keep on replacing the filter. That might be a required necessity. So let's say you have a fixed income of whatever amount and you want to maximize your savings. You can either concentrate on making more money or spending less. You actually should do both. Just a sidetrack on why you want to increase your net worth. Well, everybody wants to be rich, right? The end goal could be to retire, to not work anymore. So you can actually increase your net worth to a certain point and you fix your standard of living, and then you can retire early. So why would anyone want to increase their net worth as fast as possible? Because when you grow it to a certain point, you can actually just stop working, which is great, right? Because you're actually retired, and then you can actually go and do whatever you like. I'm not saying you should retire to sit on the couch and do nothing. I'm just pulling facts from left and right of things that I've came across, that if you actually retire early, you may shorten your lifespan because there's actually nothing that you have to aim towards. When I say retire, for me, I think of it as not working, but working for yourself. So if I ever retire, I'm not going to just sit around. I rather would, build stuff, make a business out of it or whatnot. So obviously, right now I'm working on a salary. Like most people, we work on a salary and then you try to maximize your income and then you minimize your expenses. So your job to get rich is to turn up the knob on the income as much as possible. In order to do this, of course, you try to get, go to college, get an advanced degree or something, or start a business. When you're working, you try very hard to advance your career, make as much income as possible. I'm not gonna talk about that because it's very different for every person. For the recurring expenses, here's a list of things that are common between people. If you have a home, you have mortgage, you have to pay HOA costs every month. If you have a car, you pay car repair fees every year, right? But you can kind of pretend that it's a monthly fee. Bank fees that you should never pay for, credit card interest, which you really should not have, cable, DSL, cell phone, gas, electricity, trash, car insurance, and if you don't own, you rent. And then you may have a bunch of magazine subscriptions that you buy, or maybe you have a habit of buying coffee every single day, and the gym and gas in order to drive to work. And you also have lunch fees. How much will you spend for lunch every single month eating out? I'm going to talk about each one of those and how you could think about eliminating that. Well, if you're rich enough to buy the place that you live in, you won't have a mortgage. It's good in that you can think of it as if the place that you buy appreciates more than the interest you pay on it, but that's not always a guarantee, because we've seen that in the housing bust, that you don't always make money on buying homes. There's different ways to think of the mortgage. Once you buy a place, you always have to pay that monthly fee. So it's like you have your bucket of your net worth, everything that you own, and you're poking holes in it and it's flowing out, but you're filling it up with some income. It's best for you to make these as small holes as possible, even eliminate them, and then you'll see that your net worth will grow and grow. The ultimate goal is to accumulate a lot of money so that you can retire and not work. Well, how much money is enough? There's studies done that if you make more than $80,000, the happiness level that you'll attain is not going to go up any higher than, let's say, someone making twice as much. Well, some people might say, oh, you make twice as much, 80K versus 160K, then that 160K person will be twice as happy? Probably not very likely, because they may have to work a lot harder. So in terms of happiness, you can attain most of the happiness with only 80K. HOA, you can't do anything. Car repairs, you can see that in some of my videos, I do my own car repairs. I try to do them as much as I can, only up to my abilities, and if I cannot do it, then I have to put it in the shop. If you are able to get the skills and just learn how to fix your own car, of course, then you'll save a lot of money. Bank fees. If you're plugging all these holes up, you would make enough so that you can meet the minimum requirements of the bank, so that they don't take, I don't know, $5, $10 a month. That's really hefty just for the bank to hold your money. Really, they should be paying you. It requires you to be very disciplined in management of your money that's in the bank. If they have a minimum, then you should meet that and make sure you never go under. Credit card interest. If you are able to manage your finances well, you wouldn't have credit card interest in the first place, because you would have paid it all off. That's the first thing that you need to tackle. If you do owe the credit card any money, you gotta pay that as soon as possible, because that's a major drain on your expenses. Really big hole. Cable. I personally don't watch any cable. It's kind of like a lifestyle choice. If you want all the fancy bells and whistles, then you would need more and more monthly recurring costs. Your own personal choice. You choose to get all these things. For cell phone, you watch my other video, you'll see that my cell phone plan is actually free every month. I use the Freedom Pop thing, and I'll put a link down below on how you can get that. Yeah, don't pay $100 a month. That's a major drain on your income. Lots of people working minimum wage actually has an iPhone and they get it with AT&T. They're paying $60 to $80 a month. How can you afford that? I mean, it's very expensive. You work minimum wage, a cell phone actually costs you maybe 5% of your income, roughly. Ditch the cell phone and get the free one. The service is not as good. Gas is really mainly for cooking or heating the water. So in order to save on that, you really can't do much other than if when you get a new heater, make sure that it's very well insulated. Maybe you triple insulate it too, just so that the heat doesn't leak out. For electricity, I just got one of these just a couple days ago, a kilowatt here. You basically plug in whatever appliance it is and it'll tell you how much electricity it'll use in kilowatt hours. So 1 kilowatt hour is roughly about 10 cents. So you plug whatever in all around the house and then you get a good idea of what it's costing you per month. The thing with saving electricity is once you know how much it's costing you, then it becomes a lot easier to go, oh, okay, let me just unplug that. If it's using vampire power where it's just drawing electricity without doing anything. It's on, but you're not really using it, right? It's still drawing electricity. There are some appliances that are really bad for that. So if you look out for all the vampire draining appliances and just remove them from your outlets, that can save you quite a bit too. Trash is just kind of not adjustable because you can have different sizes for the trash can. You can minimize it, most likely get the smallest size, because if you don't waste much food, you won't have much trash. Try to be very efficient with your resources, with the stuff you buy and then cast away, and get the smallest trash can. Then your monthly recurring fee will be lower unless you have a trash can service that's only one size. Car insurance, you should shop around, get the cheapest one. For me, I kind of like shy away from the really weird sounding ones because their purpose is to deny as much claims as possible, not to allow as many as possible. So you should not be paying rent. You should try as hard as you can to minimize everything, all your recurrent expenses for everything else. If you can't afford it, you live with a roommate or whatever, and you live at a cheap place, and then you can build up your savings and then buy a place. That is the ideal way. My feeling for renting is that it depends on the market. If the market for housing is really high, right now, it's March 2015 right now. I personally feel like it's moderately high. It's not like record high, but it's getting there. You might be able to make an argument where, okay, right now, maybe you've saved up enough for a down payment for a home. Let's say you go and buy a place and maybe 2-3 years, it goes down. Then you'll be underwater. The value of the home will be less than what you paid for, and that would really suck. However, there's no guarantee which way it's going. Sometimes you just gotta get lucky at your timing of when to buy. Magazine subscriptions. If you really like the magazine, yes, go ahead and keep it. If you read every single page of it every single month, sure, keep it. If you don't read it, it's probably better to cancel it. For your monthly coffee addiction, I'm sure you can calculate yourself how much it costs you per year or per month. If you get $5 coffee every single day, then it'll cost you $150 a month. That is quite expensive. Every little bit adds up. If you get a coffee, if you get cable, if you get pay your cell phone bill, at the end you're paying like $500, $1,000 per month for all these luxuries that you're getting. There's a way to find alternatives that are pretty good. For example, cell phone, you can get the Freedom Pop thing. For cable, you don't really need the cable to watch everything, have 1,000 channels that you don't watch. You can just go and rent the DVD. I mean, how many of those would you rent a month? You may rent only 10 of them versus a cable might cost you $100 a month versus $10 if you rent the DVD. You're a big sports fan, so maybe you need it. There's always something that you will not give up. Everybody's tolerance is different for certain things. And if you really want to save as much as possible, you have to look at what you like in a different way, really. How much is your time worth to you? Is being financially independent worth not watching some TV? Let's say you cast away the coffee. I personally don't drink coffee. I drink tea, and I mean, I could go and get tea every single day, but I don't. I just make my own. Gym. I don't agree with gym memberships because it's just so strange to me to go to a place to work out in one single spot, especially because it costs money. You can actually go run outside. Why don't you run outside? And you can, for weights, you can just buy your own weights and do it at home. Of course, it's not as fun, I guess, having to drive to the gym, which you shouldn't really be doing because why would you want to drive to the gym? Then you waste gas. Gym is nice because you can run in the same spot and you won't have traffic try and hit you. You want to do this safely. So if you don't get the gym, I wouldn't go running around across everywhere because that just increases your chance of getting run over. If you do run a lot, it's nice to run somewhere safe. Around the park is best. You have to look at the safety trade-off. Gas. Everybody has a car in the US, almost everybody. If you don't live in the very densely populated areas, then you need a car, then you need to buy gas. If you're stuck with a gas car like I am, then you just try to get the cheapest gas. I'm sure everybody knows how to get the cheapest gas. Go on. I personally use gasbuddy.com and just look up where it is cheapest and where on route it is to get the cheapest gas. I will not drive more than half a mile off my route in order to go to a gas station because sometimes you have to also factor in, well, if you save a certain amount per gallon for gas, you have to take into account how much gas you're getting, therefore meaning how much you're actually saving. Let's say you're getting 10 gallons. It's 10 cents cheaper down the road. So you're saving $1. So right now, let's say gas is $4 a gallon. Let's say your car gets 40 miles per gallon. That means you essentially saved a quarter gallon and you can drive up to 5 miles. If you're filling up 10 gallons, you can drive up to 5 miles to the new gas station and break even. You're also spending extra gas just to go to the gas station. You're also spending extra time to drive the gas station. So for most cases, it's not worth it to go to a gas station. That's too far off. That's more than like half a mile off from where you're gonna go. That's my experience. So you don't even have to look at go, oh, where's the cheapest? Oh, I'm gonna drive all the way 10 miles somewhere just to get the cheapest gas. No, it's not worth it. Are you gonna get the Costco gas, which is like a little bit cheaper? Well, waiting in line for Costco gas is not worth it because you wait too long. It's like 10-15 minutes. Not worth it. Why? Because if you get gas at somewhere equivalent, let's say 76 or something, and then you also use a gas card, which gets you 5%. I have the credit card video that I have that tells you which cards to use. The pricing of the gas that you get at any random station is roughly equivalent to the Costco gas, which means if you get Costco gas, you are actually wasting time when the price is roughly equivalent. So therefore, I don't get Costco gas. You should also look at how much you go out every single day when you're at work and you go to lunch and you buy lunch. It would be great if you could work for one of those high-tech firms where it gives you free lunch every single day. That's good. That's a perk. Not everyone can have that. Let's say you live in the city. The lunch will on average cost $12 to $15, and that is a big chunk of change if you do that for the whole month or every single day. That's about $300 a month. If you make a lot, I guess it's okay to spend it. You know, you're just enjoying the luxury. There's a health concern here too. When you go out to eat, it's always a bit more salty, there's a bit more fat. Most of the time, not as good for you as if you bring your own lunch and you know the contents of the lunch and you make it healthy for yourself. For me, I most of the time prefer to bring my own lunch, which is what I do. So those are the recurring expenses, so you should look at them and minimize all of those. Some things you just can't minimize, so be it, right? But if you're able to plug up as much as these as you can increase your net worth. The earlier on you do it, the bigger, the faster the snowballing effect becomes. It's actually exponential. So the earlier you do this, and you consistently do this, and save lots of money, it's just going to grow, you know, the whole compound interest thing. I think I've talked way too much here on this one, and I hope all the information is useful. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe over here. Thanks for watching.